It's a nice claim. I know. I know. This is a very common claim. I will say this. First of all, we know that I don't want to belittle the Palestinians. They have a connection to the land. I think we need to admit that. They've been there for hundreds of years. They're families that trace their roots back, about 700 years. And we have to admit that. We have to appreciate that. With that being said, to say that they're indigenous, that's a stretch. To say that they were the Canaanites that were conquered from, history shows us that they came from the Arab Peninsula, right? That is where they came from. Their Arab traditions and their Arabian culture comes from the Arabian Peninsula. They've been there for 700 years ago, but they weren't the ancient people. The name Palestinian, as a reminder, was given in a way as like it was actually Hadrian the Emperor in the second century, who wanted to stick it to the Jewish people. He said, the Jewish people, we call ourselves a stiff-necked people, am kshei oref, right? This Jewish people have already rebelled once against the Romans in 70 of the Common Era. That's why the temple was destroyed. And Hadrian said, I don't want that to happen again. So he starts making a lot of changes. He changes Jerusalem into a Roman pagan city, changes the name of Jerusalem to Ilia Capitolina, gives it a pagan name, and he also renames the land. He renames it Philistina. Why? Because remember how I said the Danites had to fight against the Philistines? They were having issues with the Philistines. Samson, anyone who's familiar with the story, fighting against the Philistines, that's the ancient enemy of the Jewish people, and the biblical enemy. So Hadrian was saying, not only am I going to rename it so it's not Jewish, I'm going to rename it by the name of their enemy to add insult to injury. So the name Philistina is, again, relatively modern. I know it goes back 1,000 years, but it's still, it's still relatively modern for us, or 2,000 years, excuse me. But that wasn't the original name. And there were Jewish Palestinians and Arab Palestinians until the British mandate fell and the state of Israel rose, and then you had Israelis and the Arab Palestinians became Palestinians. If anyone wants to show me historical and archaeological proof that says otherwise, I'd welcome it, but we know that it's not really there. And anyone who knows the history knows that it's a false statement to claim that the Palestinians and the Philistines or the Canaanites were the same people.